Hey, my name is Drake Van Hall, owner of Performance Financial, here with a good client of ours, Corbin, with Innovate Concrete Services. Corbin, feel free to introduce yourself. Talk us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, Corbin Hayden, Innovate Concrete Services, going on it's about 2.5 years, going on 3. We do tons of new construction, basements, garages, driveways, stoops. Then we get into a lot of the homeowner work as well, replacing driveways, replacing sidewalks. Awesome. We have gotten to some light commercial this year, so we're pretty excited about that too.
Yeah, so very cool. Yeah, it's been fun. We've been working together for about a year now. Yeah. One of the big takeaways, and summarize this a little bit, but just understanding the numbers better is what we've been working with. We've been doing books, proactive tax planning. We meet on a monthly basis, and just kind of that advisory side on top of the books. I know you've built a business from scratch that has grown pretty rapidly. Yeah. Talk to me about what that's been like. What kind of what have you seen from us that's really been beneficial for you so far?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things, and I was kind of pre-warned about this, is to know your numbers and how they work. And, the numbers that I was getting back beforehand weren't actual numbers. We weren't looking forward. We were growing. We had I would say too big of a growth spurt. And we don't have that money there to back it up. And you don't know what you're looking at. And the money that you think you have is not the actual money that you do have.
Right.
It's not great to look at. And I feel like you guys have done that. And now we're finally looking at some real numbers, what it looks like. And we haven't struggled to grow yet. So as we keep growing, and I'm sure we will hit that struggle at some point, but looking at real life numbers and how to do it safely. Because we haven't done that in the past. So.
One of the things I always say whenever we're looking at a business is we've got to set the foundation before we pick out master bedroom paint colors. Right. And we're in that set foundation level, which you understand really well. Stuff you guys do. I mean, just figuring out we have old accounts payable in here that we're not accounting for, so our gross profit doesn't make sense, or really getting that better understanding on the numbers so we can make better, more informed decisions.
That's 100%. You worded it better than me. You know it better than me, obviously.
Yeah, so talk to us. What do you got employees wise? What's kind of growth looking like for you guys? Subcontractors, what does that all look like?
Yeah, kind of going back, this whole company started out of a garage with 5 of us best friends, and 2 of us decided to start a concrete business. So really 2.5 years ago, it started with 5 of us all friends that started pouring concrete, and now we've grown to we have about 18 to 20 employees on staff at all times. Really kind of I would say there's a little bit of luck in it, and spending a lot of time in that category, but it's worked out. It's been a lot of fun, but now we have grown to where, that's why I kind of wanted to go back and share that, because we went from 5 to 20 in 2.5 years, and you learn a lot about yourself and who you are as a person and a leader. We don't have any subcontractors. We all are mainly in-house with us. We do reach out a few every now and then, but we try to stay away from that.
For sure.
But really, it's been great to have people that, what I've learned is you need people that know more than you, because you only know so much in this industry. So
exactly right. So talk to me a little bit before you came over with us. What were some big problems, tensions you guys were working through?
Yeah, I think the biggest one was, you kind of hit it before, is our accounts payable. We didn't really know how to work that or what it meant. We just knew we owed money in 30 days, and stuff overlaps. And when you start to get in our kind of revenue range that we're getting into now, and you don't have that in order, we took a big jump from 1 million to 3.8 to now we maybe having a better year this year. And we just didn't know, I would have to be honest, we didn't know where the money was going or why it wasn't there. And you guys have figured that out for us. So now we can hopefully get that money back and spend it where it matters. And but I would say hopefully keep growing. I call them our suppliers. We go from Logan's. We use Concrete Supply for all of our concrete, JMT Trucking, KCP Pumping. So we do have a lot of people that goes into the concrete. It's not just us. We just show up, get it prepped, and then we have 4 suppliers that also come in and help us with our day-to-day.
And we're not talking $1,000 here and there. We're talking big dollars. We're talking large scale relationships with these businesses to be able to operate at the size you guys are at. These are big relationships to manage outside of just the employees and running the business. There's a lot of other moving pieces that go into this.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun to keep those relationships, and the golf, the trips, the football games and stuff like that you get to go with them on, but then you also get to dial into the business part as well.
For sure.
That's been fun for me, a little different. I haven't done a lot of it, but it's always a great time.
So correct me if I'm wrong here, but really, we've got a customer who's typically a home builder. You've got multiple vendors that you're buying material and supplies from, and then you're also managing multiple crews that are out performing all the work. What does that look like as part of your day-to-day as you're operating all of this?
Day-to-day is pretty tough. Every day there's something new. As you're trying to figure out, what we are charging, if we're making enough, if we're doing enough, payroll as you grow with do you have enough money to we do pay weekly. So making sure that our guys are getting paid. The biggest thing for me is to keep the company afloat for all of our guys and their families, and my family one day too. We take the back burner as a business owner. Everyone knows that, but making sure that we can set our guys up for success.
Yeah,
that lifelong.
And where that's coming from is, man, we've got collections from these customers that we're doing multiple houses for a week. We've got suppliers that want to get paid 30 days after they provide the service. We've got guys who got to pay on a weekly basis. And so all of this flows in. You may get in nice big checks, but it's understanding where does that check, how much goes to payroll, how much go pay the suppliers, how much pays our operating expenses. And then the rest kind of floats down to you guys on a real basic level. I mean, there's some significant cash movement throughout the business throughout the year, and having better information lets you go, what cash is actually ours?
I'd say for 2.5 years, we ran pretty blind, which is, I'd probably say, pretty impressive that Innovate is still sitting here today. I'm super lucky that we found you guys at the time that we did, because I'm not sure we would have made it another year, in all honesty. So it's really important for us that we get it down. The day-to-day is really trying to get that down in our processes, and my job is to make sure that our guys have the right suppliers, the right people, the right numbers, so we can make those decisions. And really every day, concrete, I'm going to argue for anybody who's listening, it's the hardest trade that I believe it's the hardest, and every day goes wrong. I don't think we've had one day, and if you do have a great day in concrete, you better celebrate, because it doesn't happen all the time.
Right. So for anybody listening to this, concrete contractors, other contractors that are out there, understanding these cycles in cash is huge, because you need to know what's yours that you can go spend things on. Do we have improvement in equipment? Do we hire more guys? Do we pump more money into customer acquisition? These are all big, important pieces. You add on to that, what does depreciation look like if we have a strong year? Should we be an S Corp to mitigate taxes? Should we think about retirement planning and retention of employees to make sure, boy, we run into the slow time of year. What do we do with these good guys? And do we lay them all off? Do we have health insurance and 401ks and that sort of thing? These are all kind of things that we've talked through with our clients to make sure that they're set up, because there's more to running this business than worrying about what the tax bill looks like at the end of the year. There's cash flow, there's equipment needs, there's employee relationships, profitability, scalability. All of those things are common aspects that we're going to talk through as we're working with any of these clients. So we talk a little bit about the things we're currently doing and thinking through. Tell me what was happening beforehand.
Yeah, beforehand, we did have a CPA and we had an accountant, a third-party accountant, and they weren't in the day-to-day. We didn't meet, very often to go over, what does Innovate want? Where does Innovate want to go? And I was just more getting a profit loss at the end of the month, but it wasn't looking at the future, the accounts payables. It was just looking at it from a cash basis, which is all the knowledge that I knew. You've taught me a lot about accrual, and that's a little more important as we grow. So that's where we were at. That's what we were doing. It wasn't a great system, but I didn't know any better. So when I met you and you asked me, I remember our first meeting, it was just about, where do you want to go? Where do you want to see this thing? And I gave you those details and you took those, and we've been going ever since. It's been great.
Yep. Very common that we see that too.
Yeah.
That's most new businesses, that's how they start out, where the business owner doesn't know and they're relying on a professional. And a lot of times that's fine if you're going to stay very small, right?
Yeah.
If you were going to do, you and another guy were going to do 3 driveways a week and that's what your business looked like, that's a very reasonable way to operate a business. At the scale that you guys are at and the growth that you want to achieve, it really is missing some key details in there to really help give you that information to make the right decisions, because at your scale, you can't just go micromanage everything. You have to put people in place. You have to have systems and processes that allow you to make these larger decisions. So we've talked about, these are the big things we're working on. Tell me where you want to go.
Yeah, it's a challenging question, and I try to look at our employees and who we hire. I think the biggest thing is, taking care of the 2.5 years that we have been, so we can have 20 really great ones. I call it a legacy. I really want to build a legacy. I want to be the Des Moines concreter. I could name some other guys my mentors and the people that I look up to that I think are that do have that label, and I want to be different, but I also want to run when you think of concrete, you think of Innovate and our culture and what we've built, and I want people to hopefully one day be a mentor and help other young entrepreneurs out, but we have to make it first. So
for sure. Yep. How does knowing this information, getting more accurate books, help you make better estimates when you're looking at job costing, those sorts of things?
Well, you know that you're actually doing it for a profit. I think that's number one, that Innovate's making money, in that then we can take the price that we need to do it for with some fudge on top, make it make sense, and we know where that money is going to go. It's really everything. I don't think I'm going to say it today. I think we've been lucky for the 2.5 years, but now that we actually have actual information and we know what we're doing and how much we can sell it for, and make sure that our employees and then their families are taken care of, and we can buy more trucks, more trailers,
hire more guys,
grow. I would say, as you said before, grow in a safe way, not a super risky way is what we did. Corbin and Innovate, we're not really good at saying no, so we just keep going. But it's really everything. I don't think we could do it without it, and I don't think we'd still be here today if we weren't fixing it right now. I think we were on the cusp of either figuring out or not. I'm super happy that Performance Financials could come in, and I mean, you dissected it within a month and knew pretty quickly what was going on. So
we've been talking about this. You talked about at the beginning here some of these like growing pains of a business. Talk to us about some of those things. What did that look like, as specific as you want to be, and some of the things you've learned coming out of that?
Yeah, I'd say one thing Innovate, and something I pride myself on. I've always been a salesman since I was 18 to now 26. So sales, I don't think our culture, how we pour concrete, I don't think that was ever
right. I would agree.
Nothing was done poorly, and one thing I pride Innovate on is our service. We're not going to go out there and pour amazing concrete 365 days of the year. So when we do make a mistake, we're gonna come and fix it, make it right for you, and make sure ultimately that the builder or the homeowner, the person buying the house is happy with the product. I mean, that's what matters the most in the longevity of this business.
Completely agree.
The mistakes, I don't think they came from not knowing the numbers, and I really take credit for that one, and not understanding them. And we were probably spending more money, and we probably should have been sending it elsewhere.
Right.
In the nicest way of putting that. But when you see it there. You need vehicles, you need trucks, you need trailers. But it was really that 30 days accounts payable that we're working on right now. But I mean, the mistakes are not knowing, right?
For sure.
Not having the right people there, which is tough because you think of running a business and how much work our boys have put into this. And so I would hate to see it gone with all the hard work, all the hours. I mean, there's 80-hour work week. There was 100-hour work weeks. There was a year and a half when I was in the field. And I'll tell you what, I'm not the greatest concreter, still not to this day. So the mistakes aren't on I don't feel like they're on the operations side. It was more on the number side and understanding the business on paper. Which you just think, hey, I'm selling $3.8 million. I'm making money. This is great. Which it's not the case. So really understanding the numbers and learning that process, which honestly I didn't know I'd have to learn. I was never great at math, and I never listened, which I highly regret now. Algebra, I use algebra every single day. Those are mistakes, and it almost hurts more that if that's the way that we did go out. But I know that we're in safe hands with you guys, and now starting doing that process.
And part of this too is you can't ever learn unless you make mistakes either, though. So you can't ever let the mistakes be the definer. They're the piece that I always say, whenever you make a mistake, there's two options you can go. You can fail and never learn from it, and if you learn from it, it's really not a mistake. It's just another stepping stone, and that's being an entrepreneur and working through those things. I would challenge anybody to say they've never made a mistake in running their business. That's just be a flat out lie. They suck when you go through them. My joke always is there is no higher highs or lower lows than when you're an entrepreneur and going through some of those things, but you need some of the bad to really appreciate a lot of the good that comes out of this too. So
we always call them challenges. We don't say mistakes.
That's exactly right.
We always call them, you're right, we call them challenges. So and when you solve all of them, there's 20 more just waiting for you. So
it's a stair step, man. Things are going good, you run into something and you figure the mistake out, it's going good again, and you just get better at walking up the steps. It's all being an entrepreneur is.
When there's no challenges to be solved, I'm usually fancy. Like there's something coming around the corner and get ready for them.
Right. So some of our biggest takeaways whenever we work with contractors is as you continue to have some growth, which a lot of them, if you're doing good work, the growth comes fairly naturally. It's understanding your numbers. It's proactive planning. It's all of that and then you start over again because it's a constant evolution, right? You understand your numbers, which makes you a better bidder, which makes you land more customers, which makes you come back to being in a more competitive market. So you need to fine tune your numbers more, which make you better at bidding. It's this continual cycle. There's the cash flow implications that come into this. There is understanding where your payables are at and what cash is truly yours. Those are the biggest takeaways I see when we work with different contractors, whether it's in concrete or general contracting or home building, whatever that looks like. Those are some of the biggest things as they begin to scale. If you want to do $500,000 a year, fairly simple. The accounting's fairly simple. You want to start doing $1 million plus or more in revenue. That's where you really start to see accounts payable, job costing, cash flow projections as being core pieces to your business and operating effectively. So that's kind of where I see this. Corbin, what's the most important piece to you?
Yeah, I'd say number one, the relationship and having somebody that innovate and we can trust, which we have, and you guys. What I would argue before you came and what I didn't know is understanding those numbers. And I would challenge anybody, if you're 500,000 to $1 million, I would start it at 500,000, because if you understand it there and you grow and you do get to the $1 million to 2 to 3, you already understand that process and what it looks like. Unlike the way that we did it, where we didn't quite understand that, and we sold $1 million the first year, and I was guaranteed I was rich at that point. And that's not the case. So I think the biggest thing for us is the relationship, who you've been, the advice that you give on where we want to go, and listening, and then really have you guys have dialed in our numbers and spent months trying to figure that out for our company. And it feels like you guys want it just as bad as I do, even though you guys don't even have an interest in our company. So, and that's hard to come by and hard to see. So that's what we look for.
Well, we don't have clients unless our clients are successful.
Right.
So
right.
Kind of put a bow on all this. As I look at this, if your accountant or tax guy isn't helping you understand cash flow, understanding what project profitability looks like, setting up classes, utilizing your CRM systems that you're using for bidding, and even more so, isn't taking an interest in where you want to go as the business owner, that's where we can come in and really step in and help out. We provide all of those things, but we actually care about what you're doing. We want to know. And if I'm not asking those questions, I can't give the best advice. And so I want to know, where's this going? What's in your future that helps us decide what paths do we kind of help you move towards in the short term to achieve that long-term success. And frankly, too many accounting firms have way too many basic W-2 1040 tax returns where they don't get to take the time to really learn about your business and help provide the insight that you need. When you're under $1 million, your P&L is your most important sheet.
Yeah.
And when you're over $1 million, your balance sheet's massive.
Yeah.
It's one of the most impactful statements to look at. Your P&L is still very important, but your balance sheet is the report to look at first.
I just talked to Kirk Mickelson with KRM, and he's like, I'm past the P&L and I'm into my balance sheet. How can I make that the best balance sheet? I'm like, that sounds like an awesome problem.
Yes,
like,
right.
I want to get there. I want to get to the balance sheet, you know. And I'm pretty forward thinking too. So I want to go. But I've kind of
you feel like you're on an island because nobody else is going. You don't think anybody else is going through this. When the reality is almost everybody else is going through this exact same thing. They just never talk about it because that's not fun to talk about.
No, it's hard. It's hard to explain. Like I used to, when I was 18 to 24, I would look at business owners and I ask, like, how'd you become successful? And they're like, I don't know, man, luck, you know. And I remember I used to look at them and go,
there's no way.
I was like, that's such a terrible answer.
It's the throwaway answer a little bit.
Now people ask me, they see our company and that, and they go, well, how'd you get something? Like, well, we're far from it. Number one, and like number two, we're still lucky we're here today. You know, and I get the same answer. I'm like, okay, I get that answer. Now. You know, it's a lot different, but I have to remember it's everything I asked for and why I did it. But yeah, it's tough.
It's stressful every day.
Yeah,
it's why my joke is when I meet with clients that the first half of the meeting is let's review numbers and KPIs and cash flow and tax planning, and the second half is therapy.
Yeah,
because there isn't a place to go. You know, you're not talking about a therapist that'll understand your business, right? And so I feel like that's a little bit of our role when we're meeting with people is, hey, we're not on the ledge actually. Let's dial in these couple things here. But I feel
like we're on the tail end of something cool, but it's just we never did 5 million. That's why I argued that what you said. I was like, you got to grab those guys with 500, and they're going to grow and go, but you want to know this shit before you get to 3.8, because we never even did. We did 1.2 the first year. Like I don't know how we did that. I'll say that now. And then we did
3.8 in 2 months.
Yeah, and we're just like, what in the world, But we didn't know any of the other things that went with it. So that's why I thought about this all weekend. I'm just like, it would suck if we lost this thing, because it wasn't the hard work. It wasn't our guys. It wasn't like we were pouring bad concrete.
Right.
We're already I try to hide underneath the radar for a while, but now most people know Innovate, which is great. But at the same time, I'm like, don't know about this. Just give me time. Give me time to figure it out. But
right.
We have a lot of our other owner, Justin, who, I don't know if have you met Justin?
Briefly, but
he's not a big numbers guy. He's a big, he just goes and works sun up to sundown. But, we have a great group of guys like his brother, and then Carlos and Mario and Kenton, and we just have a great group of young guys, and that's what we're known for. And
you guys got a bunch of hustlers. That's what you got.
Oh, they've given up so much to make it happen. So if it was the number side that screwed it, that'd be my fault. So I got to figure it out. The home builders are great. I do like the new construction because you kind of get your own job site. It's a little more fast paced. Like I don't know how we figured out so fast how to equip for it, because you only get a homeowner, if you tell them 3-4 days, they'll give it to you. 3-4 days. New construction, it's you get one day, you need to get out because we need to get guys in here framing on this. It's a little tough when you're moving around every day. So it's like this project, that project, then you're on to the next one. So we'll probably do, we're probably 10 projects a week that we're on or doing. So you're moving around, you're juggling everything. But once again, our guys will go, they poured a basement, garage, driveway, and they're probably going to go prep the next one. When they're done with that, they're get ready for tomorrow. So anytime they can get off Saturday, they'll go 5 days a week and go 80 hours a day, so they don't have to work Saturday. So they deserve it. So they're great. Homeowners are great too. It's a little more. You have to be more prepared for it, ready to go. Even the music, in our culture, you can't on new construction. I say you can. Whatever music you want. I'm big 2002. I love all that stuff. But we're a homeowner. It's like, got to go to country. We got to go something else. So, just installing that to you guys, that's a little tough sometimes, because you have to decipher the two. So we actually have like one crew that I always put on homeowners, because they're like clean cut. They go there. They like to talk to the homeowners. I got one crew that's like, we don't want to talk to the homeowners. We just want to come here, work, and go home. So we built our crews to kind of, be prepared for every scenario. For sure. So we go everywhere from our volume builder to, we could go to $2.5 million house. So we've kind of done them all. Your volume builders, it's going to be, they're the ones on a strict schedule, a strict timeline. They need to build that house in 90 days and they need it sold on 91, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have some of your other ones where you go, okay, we're building a $2.5 million house. This might take 6 months to a year. When there's a little more spacing. Both are different. So a lot of times on the 2.5, you're meeting with the homeowner, you're walking through it with them. It's their baby. On the spec volume side, it's more, they're going to come in on the back end. So it's just kind of pour and go and get to the next one.
Right.
Both are super fun. Once again, it takes a different crew for each one. Both are awesome. We've done some really cool $2.5 million projects. And then, to be honest, I love our bread and butter sometimes, because it's what you do every day. It's the same thing and it's super easy. The 2.5, like, it's a different project, and they're there maybe watching you, and you got to make sure everything goes perfect, and acorns and leaves are falling right now, so you're trying to get those out of the concrete because they're watching you, they see it. So both are great. It just depends on how your business, and we kind of do all of it, so it's kind of impressive how we do mold both and make them work. But one crew, even one of our crew, they love to do something different every day. So they love the $2 million projects, or we're doing a light commercial one next to Eatery on Ingersoll right now. And that's like footings, a retaining wall, a whole parking lot. And we did hire guys to prepare for that. And they're like, our head guy's just out there by himself. He's like, I love this stuff. Just let me do it. I'm like, all right, there you go. You go do it. All are great. All even the small patios are just as important too. Some people just need a 12 by 12 patio. So the commercial, it's one of those things where you have to be even more prepared on. I would say we're really leaning on our suppliers right now. And we're kind of, what I would say is picking and choosing, is it the right project for us? So this is, one of our first, I would say, full parking lots, not just doing a tear and repair. So this one's been super cool because Jason Simon, who's the owner, owns Eatery, Alba, and some other awesome restaurants. And I've known him since I worked at Kinsler Construction Services, and he kind of reached down. I was like, yeah, let's do it. He's like, do you have the manpower? I'm like, I think we can make it happen. So we've really leaned on our suppliers. Like, I'll be honest, we don't have an excavator. We don't have a roller. But our suppliers have all that stuff where we can take it, we can rent it, and at least start getting our feet wet. So when we do start jumping on real bids and, facing some of our, what I would say, mentors and the people that I idolize, that we're not making a $500,000 mistake when we're bidding those things and getting ready for them. So
you're taking the right approach to it because you've jumped in on the residential side and seen the quick growth there, where that's really catapulted the company to a size where it can start to compete with the big dogs in town.
Yeah.
But then saying, okay, let's be a little bit more strategic with our entry into the commercial side, because you nailed the nail on the head there. Is, boy, a mistake on the residential could cost $5,000. A mistake on a giant parking lot could cost $500,000. You know, and making sure we know our stuff well before we go jump into that, because that's a cutthroat world. There's good money to be made there, because you can do lots of big projects. But boy, it can get scary on a couple big mistakes, can wipe out a company.
It's not for not for the brave. But and that's where I'd say a year ago I would have just ran after this and would have put a number to it and ran. But Drake's kind of said it best. You know, you got to build your foundation, or you always said the golden goose egg underneath it, and then kind of keep going. So we're starting to get to like we did some 5-plex out in Greenfield that went actually fairly smooth, and then working on this parking lot, which I'm super excited for, and Jason Simon's been great to work with. So
awesome.
He's worked with us on it, which is kind of the biggest part is working with us.
Talk to us about how you're finding some of your prospective clients. What was it like to find some of these big volume builders versus the custom home, one large purchase price house?
Got to give a shout out here to Des Moines HBA. Those guys I was started when I was 18 there and still involved now. And thank you to Kinsler to let me get involved, because that's where I kind of started meeting the home builders and those guys. And then when I went off to kind of start my own thing, they were all very supportive. So what I would say is, the prospecting in those, we actually, and kind of the one thing that I missed the most was selling every single day. And now I feel more, I've kind of had to shift my role from not selling to managing and being a leader and a project manager, and which I'm not great at. I'm really good at the sales and talking to people and relationships and those things, but it's kind of had to shift to something else, because we really haven't, a lot of times we'll get the phone call, when it comes to you, hey, we just had one with a builder. He called, hey, the Des Moines HBA, or, we want to start using you, we want to get you in the mix. And once again, I don't say no, I say yes. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. And we work on those, and we haven't really done any advertising either. We just got our first website, which they actually said something was wrong, so it's not even up now. So, but we haven't really done anything. It's all been word of mouth, which I'm a little old school on that part, where I think that's the most important. I do love marketing. I know one day we're going to get there, but right now it's I want to make sure the word of mouth is great about Innovate before we start. Catapulting. Like,
I can't go, here's my product, and show it to you before you come on as a client, right? And so it's a tough. We need that. Here are the people. Here's what we've actually worked through. That is somewhat of the product I can share. So
even the parking one, Jason kind of reached out. He's like, hey, I'm doing it. And I had somebody else do it. He's like, do you want to put a bid on it? I'm like, that would be awesome. Great. So a lot of times it's just, and sometimes you're sitting in your chair going, where are the sales and where are the people at? And then one week you'll get 5 phone calls. All right, we're back to business. We've kind of had to adapt this year too, because the volume building isn't quite there this year because of the economy. So we've really had to look more towards our custom home builders, and I'm sure kind of what we're seeing now, it'll probably turn the table next year. So
right. Especially rates coming down, you're probably going to see houses go up like crazy again.
So it seems like a lot of, even in Iowa, there's been so many 1 million to 2.5 million homes that have been built this year. So really, our custom home builders have been, they've been going pretty crazy. It sounds like next year they're even prepared for another good year. So
awesome.
Since commercial maybe took it down. I think they were pretty busy this year too. But
the benefit in this market is it's a very growing market where the interest rates are a little less impactful related to the continued growth, because Des Moines just continues to grow as a metro, and we need more places to put people at. Corbin, appreciate you coming in, man. This has been awesome.
Appreciate you guys.